All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. It is 9:34 a.m. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman of today's parole panel. Seated with me today on the panel are Mr. Prater to my left, Mr. Tillis seated to my right. Our remote location at this time and for the rest of the day is at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center with the staff at Hunt. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Donnie Bartolow, Warden.
Joe Buttress, Assistant Warden.
Ashley Fleming, MD.
Okay, is that everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
We have Mr. Robertson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Louis Eugene Robertson, 486-150.
All right, Mr. Robertson. Let me acknowledge we have some folks here in the room who want to speak on your behalf. You have your son Garrett and your daughter Jessica, and they'll be called upon at the appropriate time to tell us what they'd like us to know about you. First, I'll read some identifying information, ask you to verify it, and then we'll have a parole interview with you. We'll hear from Dr. Fleming and the warden, and then we'll hear from those who indicated they'd like to speak, and you'll be allowed to make a statement at the end before we vote. So, Mr. Robertson, you are classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 40-year sentence. You were sentenced in April of 2005 for attempted first-degree rape. You have a parole eligibility date, which was August 18, 2023. You do have a good time date, which is August 22nd, 2036. Full term is in August of 2043. Is all that information correct, sir?
Yeah, it sure sounds correct, yes.
All right. Would you answer Mr. Tillis's questions, please? Your case has been assigned to him.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. How long have you been in, Mr. Lewis?
Approximately 20 years and 8 months.
And what have you done since you've been here? Have you taken some classes, training?
When I first got here, I took the sex offender course in 2009, four sections of it, passed and have that in my file there. And since then, I've been living in the vets program dorm where we, for 5.5 years, basically since it was instituted back in 2018. And we take classes twice a week in there, covering all phases of anger, alcoholism, and different things. And I've also taken all the victim impact classes, living in balance. Let me see. Can I get my list out here so I can refresh my memory? We've had, let's see. Yeah. I'm also a tutor, registered tutor in the back at the carpentry shop where we build habitat cabinets. I've been back there for 12 years now and presently been working back there also. Before that, I was a maintenance worker on the Unit 2 yard. Worked for 6 years doing that. So that's basically my whole time at Hunt, those 2 jobs.
How far did you attend school?
Excuse me?
How far did you attend school? Your
Oh.
education?
Oh, all the way through high school and 1 year at LSU.
Okay. How do you feel about yourself now?
I think I'm doing great. I've improved. Obviously, I haven't just sat around here at Hunt. I've taken, like I say, taken classes, worked hard. I've always worked and had jobs my whole life. You know, I'd rather work than not. I mean, sit around is just, there's nothing to do. You know, I like to be busy, and I consider the job I have here is like the best thing at Hunt because I mean, building cabinets for habitat, which is being used for families all over the Baton Rouge area, is just, you know, it's a good feeling. You know, we don't really get paid, but it's the payment is just doing a job for people. So, and about myself as far as, I've been attending the sex offense classes here since last October. I re-entered it and, because I was up for parole on that date, but it got postponed to now. So I went ahead and returned to the sex offense class to, just to get back involved in it and, because it had been a while since I'd taken it. So basically that's it.
Have you thought about what you do if you were released? What are your plans?
Well, my plans are, I have one job offer if, my son-in-law has his own contracting business, painting houses mostly. And I can go work with him. And also, I don't know if y'all have my booklet that I sent in. This, I hope you do. I mailed it in. It has a lot of stuff in it for me. But I have Jack Connors. He's I guess you'd call him the manager over all the Habitat houses for the company, and he's been down to see us at our shop, and he wrote a letter of recommendation for me, basically for our whole shop, because he was very impressed with what we do, and I plan on going by the Habitat people when I get out and see what's going on with them, if I can help them there. I know they go to have to go to neighborhoods and put in all the cabinets, but they do have some restores in Baton Rouge where they sell material that's given to them so they can make money to help with the payment of all these houses, the cost of them. So, and that's basically when I do that. I am about to be 70 this Friday, and I would like to draw my Social Security before it gets too old there, So that, and I have some retirement money coming from a couple of jobs I worked over the years in the Syngenta Corporation right here in St. Gabriel, and through the local 198 pipe fitters, local in Baton Rouge. I worked for them for like 17 years. So that's basically what I'm up to.
I see.
Hanging out with my kids and my grandkids, reuniting with them would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Mr. Robertson, you mentioned, are you a veteran?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I heard you were in the vet's dorm, weren't you? Did you say that?
Yes, it's called a vets program dorm, but what it is basically, there's 140 people in a dorm basically, and probably half of them are vets. Some vets don't choose to live there, and a lot of them do, and it's just, so not. I'd say it's the strictest run dorm, and we keep it clean. We have meetings each week, and all that. We always doing something going on there.
So you mentioned you were involved in the victim impact program or class.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And so the victim in your crime was, I guess maybe your stepdaughter of sorts.
Stepdaughter. Yes.
What did you learn in the victim impact class? I haven't heard you say anything about what you did and how you make amends for that.
Oh, okay. I was just waiting for you to ask. So, well, I've always thought about it. I know it's wrong. It was wrong. It's a terrible thing that happened, and by going to the class, it refreshes my memory on all the things that you do to stay away from a situation so that you can get into. And what happened with me was I was living with my wife and her two children, and we went out one night to a ballroom, and we were drinking. And I normally drink beer. I don't consider, I'm a drinker, but I at the time was beer. But I drank some hard liquor that night, and when we got back to the house, my wife went on to bed, and I stayed up a while watching TV, and then I decided to go to bed. And when I went by, I saw the light was on in my stepdaughter's room. I stopped in and say goodnight, and I sat down on the bed and I gave her a kiss goodnight, and that led to fondling her, and then
Yeah. So how old was she at that time?
ma'am,
How old was she at that time?
she was 8 years old. That was in 1995, and
I want to hear what you have to say. You finished?
Well, I removed her panties and I performed oral sex on her. And then after that happened, something popped in my head and I said, this is terrible. This is terribly wrong. And I got her to put her panties back on and I left the room. And that was it for that.
A one-time occurrence, is what you're
Yes.
saying?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
The record says different.
Okay.
It went on for a period of years.
Well, that's not, I was charged with 1 count of aggravated rape and that's what happened.
All right, Mr. Prater.
Your wife or former wife, or whomever the girl's mother was, says, or maybe it's her, said that your former wife walked in on you twice. And you were doing, that's not true?
Yes, sir.
And the victim says that it occurred for about 6 years, I believe, what they said. Before you go to work in the mornings, you'd come in there and sometimes do things, including intercourse. None of that.
No, that didn't have the intercourse. There was never any intercourse involved, ever.
So you're saying it was just a one-time occurrence?
Yes, yes, sir. And I have, I don't know if you read it, I have a letter from my stepdaughter saying that she thinks I've served enough time and I should be released. And I don't know how much effect that has on y'all, but I think it's a pretty good statement there that we have a relationship, that she understands that I've been in jail long enough and so.
All right, I guess we'll hear from the warden. Warden, is there anything you can tell us about Mr. Robertson?
Not a whole lot that wasn't mentioned, actually, he's been with us for quite a long time. He's a model offender, he's no problems here. I think his last write-up was in 2014. My heart goes out to the victim. Very unfortunate thing that happened. I wish that Mr. Robertson would, instead of saying a terrible thing that happened, say a terrible thing that I did.
I did.
And kind of take a little more ownership of it at this point. But I think that he's remorseful. I think that he's worked hard in here. With that being said.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, and I see he's only has 2 write-ups, is that right?
Yes, his last one was in 2014. I think he had a torn pillow. They wrote him up for property destruction, and 2008 was unauthorized area. I think he went into the key without permission or something like that.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, well, we'll hear from your family members. We'd like to hear from whoever wants to go first. If you'd step up to the podium, please.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm Jessica. I'm the daughter and oldest child of Louis Robertson. Most people know him as Gene. We know him as Dad. I still live in the same neighborhood that we grew up in, well, where I grew up. I have many memories of barbecues, traveling, sports, playing basketball with my dad, spending time with family. For the last 20 years, my brother and I have come to visit my dad every other weekend. We feel after 20 years, it's time for him to come home and make more memories. Since he's been at a lane hunt, he has worked, attended classes, and has been in the same inmate. He has missed major milestones in our lives in the last 20 years. My children growing up, a 21-year-old and a 16-year-old. Me getting married, my brother getting married, and his little girls being born. I know my dad's remorseful for what has happened and how it's affected everyone. And I know with everything in me that he will abide by the rules of his role and be a productive citizen. He has always been a wonderful dad to me, and I look forward to spending time with him again outside of the prison walls. Please consider him for parole. I shall. And I have my stepsister's letter.
Yeah, would you hand it to the officer and we'll be sure it's included in the record? Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Garrett?
Maybe I should first, but later together. My name is Gary Robinson, Lewis Robinson's son. $35 old, married with 2 beautiful little girls. I'm employed at West Chemical, guys in Louisiana, which is right down the road. My dad has been incarcerated since I was a teenager. Thank you. Sister and I, well, spent some of our dad's long-standing friends that visited twice a month for almost 2 years now. That has witnessed the majority of my life behind prison walls. Children still to grow up themselves. I would love for my dad to witness that. With his eyes still through pictures and conversation. That's a big heart. Loved and missed by many friends and family. But still to this day. Still to this day, his friends call him to check on him and ask how he's doing. He's always helped people in time of need and never asked for anything in return. Although my dad has made mistakes in the past, he's a good person. And very nice. My dad is a changed man and has shown remorse for his crime. He's made minimal efforts towards being an outstanding inmate. And has engaged in multiple programs aiming towards self-improvement, victim impact, and skills acquisition. These programs have helped our dad get a new perspective on life. Longing to contribute positively to our community. I can promise that our dad will have a strong support system, and we will do whatever it takes. And he will do whatever it takes to abide by the parole program. My sister and I will make sure that I would love to see my dad as a free man, so we can make memories as a family. Please consider granting the parole. Thank you. Sorry, Dad.
All right, Mr. Robertson, is there a brief statement you'd like to make to us before we vote? Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Fleming was in there. Is there anything that the doctor wants to add? No?
No, ma'am, not on this one.
Okay, thank you. Anything you want to say, Mr. Robertson?
Yes, yes, ma'am, I've got a little something I wrote. So, I understand the severity of my crime. I won't be able to change the past, but I will be returning to society a changed and better person. My stepdaughter was an innocent victim. Her act of kindness in forgiving me and asking you to grant me parole shows the special person she is. My family has stood by me throughout my incarceration. They are ready to be together again. If you can see in your hearts to grant me parole today, I will be forever in your debt. Thank you.
And here to vote.
You talk.
Yeah, we have a, motion for executive session. Will you get the roll call, please?
Joe Ronaldson.
Yes,
Joe Field.
Yes.
Steve Prater.
Here. Yes.
we have a unanimous vote to go into executive session to discuss confidential matters. Mr. Robertson, just stand by. We'll be back momentarily. All right, we're back in session, and Mr. Robertson, and we are prepared to vote. Mr. Tillis voting first.
Mr. Robinson, I think you've done some good things. You've took a lot of classes. I think you need to have a little bit more time. I'm going to deny.